If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I'm a big fan of Clayton Boyer plans. This is one of his latest plans, and it's designed to crack macadamia nuts, which are the hardest nuts to crack. Anyway, it's an easy build and it can be done in a day. This is 1.5 inch timber, and I couldn't trust myself to cut it out on the scroll saw, so I'm doing it on the bandsaw to make sure that the teeth are nice and straight. Yes, it's well worth taking your time here and getting it right. As my bandsaw doesn't provide the smoothest cut in the world, I've put a sanding tape on the scroll saw and just finished off the teeth with that. I'm using a 7/8 Forstner bit to drill through this timber. I only need to drill through to the line on both sides, not all the way through. I'm pretty hopeless at cutting 1.5 inch timber on the scroll saw, but it can't be helped because this is an inside cut. So I just go slow and steady with the biggest blade that I have, which is a 12, but still it's cut on a really big angle. So I've had to sort of recut to get it straight. The plan calls for 7/8 dowel, but I can't buy 7/8 dowel in Australia. But I did have some stainless, so I've used that. I need to enlarge the holes a little bit though, to make sure that the 7/8 stainless rod slides backwards and forwards nice and smoothly. I've now got the two main pieces done. I couldn't buy a tree nut, so I had to use a bit of stainless with a nut welded to the back of it. The plan calls for two 3/4 inch cogs, but I didn't have 3/4 inch, so I cut out three 1/2 inch ones. Then just glued them all together with some super glue, and I made sure that I rubbed some soap on the shaft before I put it in so that it doesn't stick. I've reinforced the cog by putting brass rod down through the three thicknesses. I've just put one rod on each side. The plan calls for the two main pieces to be inserted into the base, but because I don't like cutting out thick material, I've decided to just shorten them and screw them onto the base. The handle is assembled like this, with the cog in between it. Again, I've strengthened the join with a couple of 1/16 rods. I've used 6mm threaded rod wherever the plan called for a rod to hold the part, and then used brass tubing over the top of that. And I've used dome nuts on both sides of the rod. Here's the finished unit sitting in the workshop. I didn't have any nuts with me, so I've used a machine nut to show where it goes. I've simply finished all the timber with orange oil. The bolt is adjustable in or out to compensate for the size of the nut that you want to crack. But then I decided it'd be nice to have a bowl to catch the shells, so I turned one up on the lathe. And here's the nutcracker in action. It takes surprisingly little effort to crack a macadamia shell. Just use a smooth squeezing action, otherwise you'll find the whole macadamia spread across the kitchen. Even if I never crack another nut, this is still a beautiful piece of art and would prove to be a wonderful gift.